Yeah, so our yuccas, these are actually yuccas, and again, this was part of that where we removed the DG. These were half the size last year. I mean, they were struggling, and now all of a sudden we took out the DG around them about 4 feet, put more compost and organic material in there, and then put the cedar mulch, and they have just taken off. I wish you would have seen how pretty these were when they were in full bloom. They were gorgeous.
Now, those come kind of from the native family. You think they would have done better.
Yeah, but yeah, it's, I always talk to customers about, actually, here's a good example of what they used to look like. These are two brand new plants. These are yuccas right here, so these are brand new. These were just planted this year. So these mature ones looked like this, and they were like this for years. So they just did nothing.
They did nothing.
They
just survived.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden we made that change, and they just doubled in size. Now this, there in the middle, that's a new one also. So we're always replacing plants, but plants die. It happens and stuff like that. So we're replacing them as they die. But these have done very well. Now the purple plant right behind it, the Texas Ranger, has been here a long time. As you can see how big the base is on that. And that tree didn't matter. There was DG. It would probably grow out of a rock, I mean, it's just done amazing. It's a big pollinator, as you can see the bees and stuff like that. It's a beautiful specimen.
And it still has blooms.
Yeah, it still has blooms. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, like 2 weeks ago, there were no blooms on that. And then all of a sudden it rained and just bam, it bloomed. It was pretty amazing how quick that happens. Now we were talking about how plants have a way of just sprouting everywhere, right? Yeah, how did this get here, right? It's kind of one of my grasses just showed up one day, and it's actually, if you look on the side, it grew right into the yucca. So the red yucca, so it's actually, and so I said, you know what, just go ahead and leave it, and that way I can talk about things having to come up and stuff like that, so we can use that. Now you were talking about the Red Hot Pokers. I have those farther down. We do have some kangaroo paws here. So these stressed under with the DG. So when we removed it, they are coming back. As you can see, that one's coming back really well. We thought we had lost that one, but it's coming up.
Do you have any problem with like rabbits here?
Oh, we have all kinds of critters in our garden.
Do they eat your plants? Or?
So, not as much as eat the plants, but they dig looking for grubs. So, and it's not rabbits that we have a fox that comes through here every now and then, a bushy-tailed fox. We also have, trying to think of those little mean, they have the super razor possums, oh my gosh, and they look so fierce, right? But they do, you'll see, I'll come out here and also I see all these holes, right, in the mulch, and I'm like, dude, what is going on out here? And sure enough, video camera shows possums cruising through our garden, just looking for grubs and stuff like that.
So pretty much your plants are somewhat resistive to those families of critters.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any rabbits out here, but that could be the reason, because we have like the foxes and other things like that come through here. We also have some wild domesticated cats that live here, and stuff like that. So, and I think they're helping with keeping the other animals from destroying all of our plants.
The natural elements.
Yeah, so, haven't seen any snakes out here yet, but, looking forward to seeing one of those guys. So, again, we let them keep this yucca here, this red yucca, and you can see behind it another plant had somehow sprouted in there. That's a kangaroo, that's a gopher plant. So it's kind of interesting how that happens, right? So just let that in there. So this bed over here to my left was also all DG, and we removed it, did the same thing, and these plants have come back greatly. Those little johns, those 3 little johns up there, you can see all the new growth on there. Those 3 or 4 years never grew. That's what they look like. So that was a great, so we're really happy with how that turned out.
So you did it mostly in these beds?
Yes, so, and then we added the mow curb up around it and around that area. it's budgeting, right? So we have to budget when we do stuff. And right behind us, we have those coral fountains. And in that bed over here, this is where we have all of our controllers for recycled water. That bed was also all DG, and that went all the way up around the corner. So the idea was to do these few beds first, and then I'll show you where we're going to start next year with the next beds.
I like, you know, these edges, this concrete edging really defines the different mulches that you have in different beds. So you have a little different color.
Yeah, and that was the goal, is to showcase different mulches. And now that we have this concrete in here, if we ever wanted to take this out and put something, a different type of mulch, it's easy. And then it's just a small section. You know, we're not taking it out for the whole garden, just this small area. And we had talked about doing that because there's all different kinds of mulches that have all different, you know, colored and stuff like that. There's even recycled tire mulch and stuff like that. Things that we're looking at to possibly having small sections so customers can look at it.
Are you kind of in the family of doing more natural things in the garden rather than using recycled rubber?
We're trying to be more natural. That's why we don't use a lot. We try to use no chemicals, you know, sprays and stuff like that, and that includes fertilizer. So we try to really limit what we're using out here.
Because I looked at the rubber mulch, because some of it I think it looks kind of fun.
Yeah, it looks cool.
However, I was concerned about the off-gassing.
Yeah, the leaching. You know, we've heard a lot about the leaching. You know, when the water hits it and leaching down into the groundwater and stuff like that. And what we do here at EMWD is a lot of times is that we sit back and wait until all the actual data comes out, right? Not just the hearsay, but hey, this is what we found out over this period of time. This is what it's doing and stuff, and then we move forward from there. So yeah. So now to your right, we do have a small shade sail area. This is where we can have meetings outside. I've done a lot of tours for HOAs and stuff like that, so they're older crowd, and we do the whole tour underneath the sails, you know, and I just kind of point stuff, and it makes it nice so that way people can sit, you know, and enjoy the garden. We do, employees use this area, especially from November through about April, just to get out of the office and stuff like that. It's really nice.
You have a cafeteria over there?
We have a small micro mart. Yes, small, but it's enough. It's enough. So, and we're lucky. I mean, when we moved out here, so our operations and maintenance building was built in '95. Our customer service building, our AC building, was built in '98. So, but when we were out here, there was nothing. We now have Big League Dreams right across the street. We have a water park right up there. You know, we have restaurants and stuff. But when we moved out here from Senecio, yeah, there was not much. Okay, so over here, I wanted to talk about a few plants that have actually done really well. So our yellow bell is one of the highlights in the garden. When we installed this yellow bell, it wasn't really popular. A lot of people didn't know about it and stuff like that. What I was told is from Texas. I don't know. I know it's from the Southwest. But it blooms all spring, all summer, all fall. You know, it's great. And we left this one untouched because we wanted to see how big it will get. And it, as you can see, it's getting big. Yeah.
See, I thought, because I have one, actually I had two, but I have one now. And I thought it was a climber. But mine's growing kind of in that shape also. And mine's not that big.
Yeah.
It took a while for it to really take hold. I mean, a couple of years. And now it's starting to be happy like this.
Yeah, it took a while. So we planted this one, I think in 2014, 2015. And then we had that real cold snap in 2017, the winter 2018, and we thought we lost it. I mean, it lost all of its leaves, all of its blooms, went down to just sticks. And so
I've had that with mine too.
Our landscaper said, you know what, we're just gonna be like a rose bush. Leave it about a foot off the ground, cut it, let's see what happens, and it just came back. So it's a hardy plant. So.
And it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's very pretty. You can see that it attracts bumblebees, it attracts not so much butterflies, but it does attract a lot of hummingbirds. So now, so we have a different variety of the yellow bell. It shouldn't be called a yellow bell because it's more red-orange here. So we wanted to kind of bring a different, there's all kinds of colors. which is amazing.
Now those flowers look quite a bit smaller.
Yeah, and this is a lot newer plant. This plant was, I think, planted in 2019. So, and we trim this plant. We kind of show people, oh, you can still trim these. And they survive trimmings very well. And you can kind of keep it low, you know, if you have a limited space in your garden. So you can keep it low, but it still flowers, you know, spring through late fall, which is really cool. Right in front of it is our gopher plant. I love this plant. It's more of it's on the succulent side, right? So if you look at the leaves are very, not spiny, right? So you're not going to hurt yourself, but it's more of the succulent. Right now, due to the sun and the heat and stuff like that, it's a little stressed, but in the winter, when it rains, these leaves all puff up. This is where it holds all this water and actually turns, I call it a blue, but it's more like a silverish blue. And then it'll actually, I wonder if I have a photo of it. I don't. And then the blooms are yellow, very pretty. So you have this pretty plant with some really pretty blooms. First question that I always get is that, oh, gophers don't eat this plant. And so I can just plant this around my garden and I won't have any gophers. Well, yeah, they don't eat this plant. They just go around it, you know. And they'll find your other plants.
Yeah.
But no, we haven't had, and we're pretty lucky. Honestly, I thought we would have more issues with gophers out here, but we actually don't. We actually don't have any gophers out here, which is amazing. Knock on wood that we don't have any, so we're pretty lucky.
If you have a low water garden,
Yeah.
you don't have as much water there for them, and that's what they're searching for.
So, yeah. So, but this plant is beautiful. Coral fountain, as you can see there, off to your right. Very green. Love those little flowers. Hummingbirds absolutely love it because they're tubular flowers, so they can get their little bill in there and stuff like that. So they attract a lot of hummers.
Wow, they can get their bill in those tiny
Yeah,
little
and then
flowers.
just to the right, you can see we have a pretty good grouping over here. So we try to do that groupings in odd numbers, 3 and 5s and stuff like that, which is really pretty, and they do well.
Now this is interesting. You see how many blooms we have over here, and this is fall. This
Yeah.
is the middle of fall.
Exactly. So we do have some roses, and we have 2 different colors. We have red and white, and everyone always asks. We could have turned this garden into a rose garden. As many varieties, of roses there are and stuff like that. I mean, So everybody loves roses, so we put a couple different varieties in, just to showcase those. And trees-wise, I'm going to couple of them that I have. So we have eastern and western redbuds here. Those are fairly new trees. They haven't really had much luck. We've replaced them a couple times, so they're not really liking our garden too much. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. It's funny how some trees work out, some trees don't.
I have one at home that I've had it for almost 20 years. It was there when I moved in, and I didn't even water it. And it just blends in, with the natives, and it's gorgeous.
They're so pretty when they bloom. They're so gorgeous. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit also about a tree that we're having some issues with. So this Arizona ash right here, you can see that it's very stressed compared to our other Arizona ashes. You can see how the canopy is really dull. It's not holding a lot of leaves and stuff like that. So we're going to have our arborist come out, take a look, and see what's going on. I hope we don't lose it, but we'll see. We'll see what he recommends as we can save that tree.
Yeah, because that's kind of one of my ashes. I couldn't find the moss, and it ended up when we cut off one of the dead branches, you could see the whole thing. Looked like a honeycomb. There were so many cells and stuff. It was a moth family.
Wow. So it was eating the inside and.
Yeah, and so I couldn't see any holes. Like bark beetle on pine trees start at the top because I lost a lot of those, but you couldn't see anything because the little holes on that were 25 feet up, and it starts at the top, and it works down, and it also, they come into your yard from neighbors,
Right.
or a mile or 2 away.
Yeah. And that stinks because then you invest all that time in these beautiful trees and stuff, and then a little tiny bug takes them out.
But one of the things with like the bark beetle, that I learned was they get stressed when they don't have enough water, and that's when the bugs attack them.
Oh, I gotcha.
So if you don't have your watering down the correct way.
Good point. Yeah, and we use, that's a great segue into, we use all drip out here, and we have the ET controllers that measure, you know, how hot it was the day before, how much water needs to be put on to replace all the evaporation that happened and stuff like that.
So you have controllers inside that you can do this with.
Yeah, matter of fact, right behind you, that brown box that has the letter A on it, that's where all the controllers are sitting. So that way our landscapers and stuff have easy access to it, so they can just pop it
Well,
over.
now a friend of mine told me that Eastern came out and put some kind of controller on her sprinkler systems for her.
This is good. This is another good segue into all of the different rebates EMWD offers. That is a program that we offer that they'll come out, we go onto our website, look for rebates, and it has all the information on the different rebates and different programs. But they'll come out and they'll replace your current controller with an ET controller, set everything up for you so that way you don't have to do anything. There is a price on there, there's a charge on there, but I think that is then woven into your water bill and it's spread out over a certain amount of time. So yeah, but we have rebates for toilets, we have rebates for turf removal. That's the big one right now. So it's I don't want to say how much it is because it'll date this video, but look for those rebates. It's always changing and stuff like that. So if you have turf and you want to get removed, there's a rebate to remove that turf and to install plants like you see out here.
And it's really helpful, you know, especially people like who've lost a spouse or they're older. Eastern came out and, you know, a couple times it really helped her.
Yeah, and that's one of the services, and a lot of people, we're trying to get that out more to let them know, hey, look, we have these great programs. Take advantage of it. If you're going to be replacing your controller, take a look to see what the rebate is for a new controller and see if you qualify. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, have us do it for you, you know? So, yeah, a lot of good rebates. So, EMWD.org, and then go on to rebates, and there's a whole page on there, and it's where to go and how to, you know, who qualifies and all kinds of information.
And I'll have some of this information on the YouTube video under the notes.
Okay.
And so that they can find
Yeah,
you.
that's great. Perfect. So when we get around this corner, we're now over at our operations and maintenance building side. And over here, so you're going to see a lot of the plants are repeating and stuff, the different trees, but we also planted grapes all along the fence over here, and we'll take you up there to take a look at it. We also planted some olive trees. Now those are fruitless, right, because they do get kind of messy. But we have a pomegranate tree, and then on the right hand side we have some citrus trees. So we're starting to put more fruit trees in just because a lot of customers want to see, oh, where are all the fruit trees, right? Where are all the different trees and stuff? We're always looking for drought tolerant. Citrus, you know, they do take a little bit of water and stuff like that, but once established, they don't take as much. So
This is really filled in.
yes, this is really taken off. So this is a great spot. Let me show you a couple things. So remember we were talking about the border over there? So this is the border that we used back when we first installed this garden, and you can see this border's coming up here just over, you know, as the ground contracts, you know, expands and stuff and shrinks back due to weather and stuff. But you can see how higher it is in this area, and it's lower, and it's coming up in other areas. So that's why we decided just to go with the concrete. And this will be our next phase. So you can see this is the DG in here surrounding our plants. Red Hot Pokers are here. So we do have some Red Hot Pokers in this location here. Those are gorgeous when they're blooming. They're so pretty, you know. And we're hoping that when we remove the DG in this area, that these plants will double in size pretty quickly.
And you repeat some of the roses tucked into the shrubs over
Yes,
there.
yeah.
That's
So
a nice balance.
now, behind me, this is an area that they didn't talk to me about before planting, and then now all of a sudden it's just taken off. I think this is the type of holly. I could be mistaken, but you can see how it's just taken off back here, right?
Yes.
And that's something we didn't want in the garden. We wanted to have specific drought tolerant plants so they wouldn't take off. So, either in this winter or in early spring, we're gonna remove several of these and trim one and just keep one of those specimens and then put some other stuff in here. So. But yeah, we have a lot of rosemary. You can see the bees are out, doing their thing. And this happens a lot. So where a plant dies in the middle of, we have a drip system here and stuff like that. So what we'll do is we'll have our landscaper come out and basically dig this out, put new organic mulch, organic material in there, and then put another rosemary plant in there, and then it'll probably take about a year or so, and that'll completely fill in, and it'll look like just like everything else.
Yeah, it always does wherever you have a large amount of plants. Even your privets and your Japanese privets will do that.
Yeah, and our Japanese privets are notorious. So here's one of the signs. This is a pretty good one, so that way you can kind of see when they come out here what it looks like. So has the name, has the botanical name, kind of shows you how wide this plant's going to get and how tall. Also that it takes full sun. It's a low water use plant, and it attracts bees and butterflies. And it says it blooms year round, so maybe, I think it's just after a good rain it really blooms. So, and those are throughout our garden. I didn't put tags on every single plant because then it would just be a tag garden, right? So they're spread out through here. So up here onto my left, so that's our pomegranate tree. It actually does really well here.
I see.
So yeah,
what looks like a pomegranate.
yeah. So it's been here about 3 or so years. It does great. We do keep it trimmed. Pomegranates get big. If you let it go, this tree would get quite large.
Wow, they look like Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.
Hanging down.
Yeah, and so when I do tours out here with groups and stuff like that in the early spring and stuff, if this fruit's ripe, I take them up this little path and let them pick what they want, eat what they want. Now, granted, the pomegranates are going to wait until they get home because those things are just mess, right?
Yeah.
But along the fence line, we'll come up here, and that is all of our grapes. So they're not real big right now, but these will get fairly large. Last year, I waited too long to harvest them, and they got so juicy they cracked, So, but even the ones that are cracked, I still took them.
There's a lot on there.
Yeah. And you can see it's already bowing due to the weight, but I asked the landscapers not to trim it this year and stuff like that because I wanted to see what'll happen, just to see how much fruit it would get.
Well, is it like the other stone plants that really need to be thinned out a little bit?
And this is probably the biggest harvest of the most fruit I've seen on this plant. I mean, on this tree so far. So that's what I was going to see. Let's see what it looks like, and let's see how it does. And then next year, if it stressed it, or if the fruit didn't ripe correctly and stuff like that, we'll have them start thinning out to where they're leaving half the fruit on there. So we're going to see. So these are our grapes. Now, weather's starting to cool down, the leaves are starting to drop, so this plant will go dormant here pretty soon, but it looks amazing, right? So, and then come springtime, I mean, it just looks gorgeous.
Plus, it has nice form.
Yeah, so our landscapers have done a great job with keeping the form to it and stuff and trimming it properly. You can see each of the plant is getting irrigated, and now we did have an outbreak one time of these worms, and man, it was amazing how fast it was destroying these plants.
Wow.
So that was one of the only times that we actually had to use a pesticide to get rid of them. But yeah, there'll be big clusters of grapes. Now, of course, when you go to the store, those grapes are huge, right? But because we don't fertilize and stuff like that, they're very small, but they're super juicy, and they're good to eat. So.
this surface?
This is DG. It's just a colored. We colored this decomposed granite, so that way it can just show a difference between that driveway to this area. Yeah. So what's nice about DG, you can get different colors and stuff like that. You know, yeah.
That's right. I think when I went to the quarry, they had them in the
Yeah, they have all kinds of colors.
Yeah.
And they put this standard border in, and you can already see the standard border is already showing. It's only been here a few years and it's already showing its age. So we'll then put concrete edging up in here too. So we have some roses.
These are the Iceberg.
So yeah, it's the Iceberg rose. So we went with these. They are not thornless, I can tell you that. So, but they're very pretty. You know, they're very pretty. Went with these. At my house, I have some long stem thornless type roses and stuff like that. They're super pretty. You know, they're just awesome. So there's so many varieties. Jackson Perkins have some great varieties of roses
Well, the
and stuff like
Iceberg
that.
is a very hardy rose, and
It
it's
is.
and especially for people who are just beginning to be
Yeah.
rosarians and or a hard to grow area.
You're not going to kill them, that's for sure. So, but yeah, it's great. Interesting. I don't know if you can see, you can notice that there's been a lot of disturbance in the mulch over there by that olive tree and by that bush. That's where we see, that's normally the kind of damage we see from those possums.
And it's close to the fence.
Yeah, so they come in, they work around for worms and stuff like that. But normally it's not a big deal. You know, it's just, they're in, they're out. So,
It's just alarming when you run into
Oh,
one
yes,
in the
they're-
evening. 'Cause
they're
it's-
vicious.
it's-
well, I shouldn't say they're vicious, but when you corner them, so I had one go into my orange tree. It must have been starving. It actually climbed to my orange tree, and I'm hearing rustling. I'm like, what is going on? It's actually eating the oranges on the tree. And so I go out there with my hose, right? And that sucker just came charging, and I was like, I'm done. I was like, no, you win, right?
You won and leave.
So, and then again, so it repeats. Our garden just keeps repeating with the different plants. You can see we have another DG area and then another area up here. Those will all be replaced, hopefully in 2023. So, and we have some different plants. I don't think I've showed, we talked about this one. This is more on the succulent side, and they're called chopsticks. Let me see if I got the. So, you can see just by it raining just a little bit, you can see the blue color. This is the new growth coming up. So in the wintertime, it turns really a nice blue. A lot of people use this in their succulent gardens for like an ocean or a water themed succulent garden. They're not doing great here just because the DG is limiting their growth. So we're hoping when we move the DG, put some more organics in there, they'll double in size.
Now, this is the only place I've noticed that you had palms.
Yes, so we just installed, when I say just, in the last 2 to 3 years, we used to have artificial turf in the front of our operations and maintenance center entrance. We decided to remove that and actually put some palm trees up just to give it more of an entrance. So, and that's the only place we have palm trees.
Now, are they low water?
Those are, from what I've been told, they are low water. They're actually doing well. We got those were fairly large when we got them. I just know they came in by truck. So, and when they installed them, they're pretty big. So we wanted something with a substantial size as a statement, when they enter the facility. Now, we also have a few, you can see the citrus trees there. And we have a few more of the rose bushes, rosemary, and we have some more of our roses up front, and some more, of course, of our rocks. That's pretty much it. That's our garden, So it doesn't take really long to walk through it, which is nice. So for a customer that just wants to come and visit.
Would you say your garden is actually pretty nice year round then?
It is. The only time I don't recommend people coming is in August. That's really just because it's too hot. The garden is open from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. So even if you're here at 8 o'clock in August, it's 90 degrees. It's just too hot.
Yes.
Best times to come is in April. That's when everything's blooming and it's amazing out here. Or in even just a few weeks from now in November, you'll see a lot of stuff blooming again. There's a lot blooming now, but it'll be a little bit more colorful.
It's just gorgeous. Thank you, Alan. This
Thank
has
you.
been a really nice
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for having me on this video and stuff. Love the Master Gardener program, so we love working with you guys. So.
By the way, Master Gardeners has a kind of like a little mini, like 4-week workshop on gardening.
Ooh.
And it's for home gardeners who want to just learn a little bit about gardening. So you can keep that in mind if you run into somebody. Or,
Yeah, no.
I don't know if you can tell your landscape.
Yeah.
But
You need to take some botany classes. Come on. No, and I promote the Master Gardener program. We work with the Master Gardeners, so we can't be at every event, but the Master Gardeners are at a lot of events. So we've Thurman, and we give our different flyers, information about rebates, and about all the stuff that we're doing. So that way they're on your information tables. So it's a great partnership.
and thank you for doing that, because it makes our information tables even better for the public.
Yeah, loved it. Can't recommend that program enough. I learned a lot. So.